Good morning, everyone. My name is Pelin Ekdi. I'm a town planner and urban designer, and I have been working as a KTP Associate on the Zero Carbon Neighborhoods project. Today, I will talk about this 30-month-long collaboration and also my personal experience as a KTP Associate. Uh, to briefly introduce you, Anderson Bell Christie, they are an architectural practice with over 30 years of experience. They are working with clients in health, education, and housing sectors. In addition to their architectural expertise, they also lead various in-house research projects focused on net zero operational and embedded energy solutions. ABC has identified a gap between net zero policy and its practical implementations through their engagement with stakeholders, which led them to partner with the University of Strathclyde. So the aim of the team has been to connect existing policy with place-based community-scale solutions. This visual on the slide from ABC's public-facing document for new service balance represented that the Zero Carbon Neighborhoods Toolkit integrated into this new service. The primary objective of the KTP has been the development of a toolkit which aligns with Scottish Government's 2045 targets and also integrates into ABC's operations. So the toolkit, which I will introduce you later in the presentation, offers a data-driven, innovative solution for place-based carbon reduction and sequestration. So this is project timeline. Um, I've started to work on this project in June 2022. Today we are in stage 7, finalization of the project, preparing final guidelines and a report for in-house toolkit delivery. It has been a very intense process, and apart from research and toolkit development, we spent immense amount of time on business plan development and engagement with stakeholders. So we carried out extensive research across several key areas, all integrated within the larger project framework. This diagram on the slide highlights the critical components of this research, including policy analysis, identification of neighborhood elements and KPIs, a comprehensive stakeholder mapping, uh, and in order to develop a business plan for the toolkit. Last step of this process is successfully integrating the toolkit framework into ABC's operations. This is what recently we have been working on. So it all started by assessing relevant policy and legal guidelines, focusing on the Scottish Government's net zero 2045 targets. We identified and analyzed public authority policies and engaged with relevant public bodies to better understand their targets, metrics, and methodologies behind. So through one-to-one engagements and meetings, we gained insight into their own operations, um, and also understand the gap between policy intentions and their spatial reflections. Following that, we delved deeper into specific policies related directly to our neighborhood definition, incorporating them into the toolkit's operating procedures. This diagram on the slide actually shows how each policy comes and connects to our comes together and connects to our neighborhood concept, either to a qualitative element or a quantitative one. So finding relevant policy and connect them with our neighborhood definition has provided us a holistic and also place-based framework. So while we successfully identified spatial reflections of policies, the constant change in these legislations and regulations and evolving targets presented has presented an ongoing challenge for the team. So to mitigate this risk associated with changing policy framework, the toolkit has been developed with an adaptable methodology. So if any change to net zero targets uh, happens, the toolkit can be refined accordingly. So alongside the policy analysis, also key neighborhood elements identified and embedded into our neighborhood model. This model based on lifetime energy demand of a community, associated emissions, and also renewables and carbon sequestration capacity of on-site green space. At this stage, KPIs were also identified and selected to measure progress towards the project goals. To do so, a detailed literature review was conducted, drawing from recent academic research and global best practices on zero carbon, low carbon, and low energy developments. Another key phase of the project was stakeholder mapping. Understanding who they are, what they need, and what are their priorities was crucial for developing a successful business plan. To do so, we also collaborated with Strathclyde Business School to apply for and secure a £5,000 grant. And this piece of work has helped us to enhance our stakeholder mapping, conducting a market research, and embedding that knowledge into our business plan development for the toolkit. So by the help of this short-term collaboration, um, the toolkit framework now better aligns with industrial demands and also better integrates into ABC's procedures. So as a part of refining the toolkit and market analysis, we engage with various stakeholders, including local authorities, housing associations, and community groups. We presented the toolkit and our case study findings to different stakeholders. Our primary goal was here to understand how they interpret complex data. This step proved crucial as we discovered that different stakeholders have varying needs and expectations, and also they interpret data differently. So while some easily grasp the data information we presented, the others required clearer and more impactful visuals to fully understand the information we provided them. So this continued engagement with local authorities and other partner organizations ensured that the toolkit addressed their needs, priorities, and main industry guidelines that shapes architectural and urban planning practices. So all these stakeholder engagements, regular consultations with academic and business supervisors help me to combine different perspectives and mitigate risks associated with project management. However, at the end, this hard work has paid off, and as the toolkit now seamlessly integrates with two other research streams already in progress at ABC. So this diagram on the screen shows how net zero operational research comes together with embodied carbon and also our KTP Zero Carbon Neighborhoods. These three different research looks different scales, However, when they come together, they create a holistic framework. So for ease of use, a detailed guideline document has been prepared. Um, it outlines the research steps, methodologies, data requirements, data gathering techniques, data sources. Also includes neighborhood scope, toolkit packages for different needs and different stakeholders, KPIs, reference values, benchmarking, and many other more. Figure 1 on this slide illustrates the conceptual framework for the toolkit. This document is mainly important for future reference and ease of use. Um, it's only for in-house use at the moment. However, anyone in the company uh, who can read it through, uh, they can start using the toolkit easily. So it explains what needs to be done step by step to operate the toolkit. So we have the toolkit now in hand, and which is an Excel-based resource. The next step is to transform this Excel-based tool into a user-friendly web-based interface. This interactive platform will include case study examples and provide both annual and lifetime emission estimations for different scenarios. To do so, we are working with web developers and graphic designers. Um, this is still in progress, though. One of the other main aspects of the toolkit is its capacity of scenario testing. What I mean by scenario testing is toolkit provides informed decision-making process on site appraisals for stakeholders. So our engagement with local authority partners confirmed that the toolkit is highly practical for them as it demonstrates the outcomes of different design solutions um, and models the environmental outcomes and benefits of these proposed scenarios. So here we see a sample dashboard showcasing 3 different case studies we conducted for partner organizations. One of them in a local authority, other one is a community trust, and the last one is a housing association. This exercise allowed us to refine the toolkit for different urban scales and different spatial contexts. And also, it's helped us to understand the diverse needs of our clients. I mentioned previously, but need to emphasize again, the most important feature of the toolkit is its ability to align with national net zero targets. As several net zero targets embedded into the toolkit database, we can model possible reduction of emissions, lifetime emissions over time, over the building's lifetime of 60 years. However, it's also adaptable to future change in legislation. So if anything changes in the net zero targets, and we can go back to toolkit database and update these targets, which will help us to modify our scenario testing. And another contribution of the toolkit is its ability to provide solutions for improved carbon sequestration. This feature is, again, very important to show how to balance lifetime emissions of a neighborhood with on-site renewables and green space improvements. Our estimations show that even though we hit net zero 2045 targets on time, there will still be a huge amount of cumulative emissions from neighborhood operations. So it will never be, there will be never a zero carbon solution for existing developments, to be honest. So best solution to this, balance lifetime emissions. To do so, while we need to reduce carbon emissions produced on site, um, we need to balance them with on-site renewables and on-site green space carbon capture with by using existing green space. So as the project comes a completion in December, we are now transitioning this holistic and very long comprehensive framework into a new service offering for ABC named Balance. This new service covers, as I mentioned earlier, operational and embodied energy at the building level, and also Zero Carbon Neighborhood Toolkit completes this service, this offering by community level carbon solutions. The next couple of visuals are from Balance documents. I'll show you. We are working with web designers and graphic designers to create a user-friendly interactive web page for marketing purposes as well. So when it comes to my own experience, um, my time as a KTP associate is coming to an end now. I like to reflect on how incredibly rewarding this experience has been for me. I have had the opportunity to attend numerous events and training sessions, both online and in person, by utilizing my development budget, which have contributed significantly to my growth professionally and personally. Prior to this role, I spent many years working as a researcher, participating in several academic projects. However, the KTP opened a totally new door for me, allowing me to take my research experience and apply it in a practical context. So this has been an invaluable experience, one that has truly enriched my professional journey. And in addition to developing the toolkit, we also submitted two full papers to USIM 2024 conference, which will take place in November this year. Looking ahead, we also plan to publish more of this work to utilize the data and information we have in hand, and also continue our partnership through future KTP projects. This is among our future plans. I just want to quickly mention that there were several challenges throughout this process, some of which I already mentioned. However, I've learned a great deal from each challenge over the past 2 years. The knowledge and experience I've gained go far beyond my previous background and far beyond my expectations, to be honest, which I believe it will be a great strength for my future career. Lastly, I want to extend a big thank you to UKRI, KTP West of Scotland, um, my KTP advisors and my supervisors for their ongoing support through this journey. None of this would have been possible without their guidance and assistance. So huge thanks to the KTP team. I learned a lot throughout this journey. And thank you very much to you all for listening my KTP experience.